Good morning. Thank you very much for having me. And as Mike said, I'm currently living in Charlotte, but spent most of my career really in Phoenix, where I kind of fell in love with morning news. I was assistant news director at the CBS station, and right when all those affiliation flips were going on and things were kind of in transition, and the ABC station said, would you mind coming over here and figuring out what to do with our morning news? And I thought that sounded like a lot of fun, having no idea really what I was going to be doing, because I was a kind of a traditional hard news 10 p.m. Producer, and took over the morning show at KTVK, and it did really well. And here I am 15 years later, an expert, so-called, on morning news. So it really became my passion. I was 3 years with KTVK executive producing their morning show for 3 years, and I just absolutely fell in love with morning news. And a consulting company, McHugh and Hoffman, offered me a job to travel the world and show other people how morning viewers watch morning television. And so I've been very fortunate over the past 15 years to sit in a lot of focus groups and read a lot of research and watch how morning news viewers in many parts of the world watch morning news. And the reality is it's really different, which is good for me because I've made a career out of it. Because most people, have gone to school, learned journalism, gone to work in a station and worked on a 5 or 6 o'clock newscast, and then all of a sudden ended up on a morning show. And we kind of all do what we've done leading up to that, but the mornings are really different, and how do you connect with a morning show viewer? And that's really, again, what I've kind of made a living on this past 15 years, and I still love it. I was up at 4 o'clock this morning online, getting ready for that 4:26 start. So as Mike said, I am not here to tell you how to do your morning show. You've got Mike for that, and Brian for that, and Jackie. But I am here. I'm here to share with you what I've seen, what I know about morning news viewers, how different ways you might be able to connect with them. I'm going to show you a lot of tape, a lot of examples, things you might want to try, things you may hate that you'll never do, some things you may hate that you may want to do. But I'm not going to, at the end, hand you a formula or there's no handouts. I'm not here to tell you how to do your morning show. But hopefully by the end of the 2 days, I'll give you some things to think about that I think will help your morning show connect better with morning show viewers. So I'm going to not talk a whole lot over these next couple of days. I brought a lot of tape with me as examples for you guys to look at and go, you know what, I like that, I don't like that, that would never work in this market, that would work. Hopefully by the end of the 2 days, you'll have some ideas and things you can take with you that will increase your ratings, get people to stop and watch your morning show. So any questions about me or what we're going to do over the couple of days? Yes, Jackie.
602 name for the area code in Phoenix.
Yeah, so the company was founded by Graham Newell. Graham and I were buddies at the CBS station in Phoenix. He was in the promotions department and I was the assistant news director, and we played racquetball at lunch hour and formed this great, competitive relationship. And Graham went off to be creative services director in a bunch of markets, and he kept getting fired every 2 years, and he said, I'm going to just form my own company. And he based this is great. He based the whole company on one thing, and which he's going to be doing with you guys, which is how to write a news tease. Most people go to school and learn journalism and reporting and producing, but most news people are not taught how to craft a tease. And teases are basically advertisements. So he's going to be coming in after I am to teach you guys tease writing. So we're not going to spend a lot of time on tease writing. But anyway, so Graham and I worked together in Phoenix. Graham was a struggling entrepreneur and had no money, was trying to start his company up, and he called a buddy up of his and said, I need business cards and some paper logo. And And the guy says, well, I was about to form this company called 602 Communications, but I decided not to do it. But I have all these business cards laying around and letterhead. And Graham goes, perfect, I'll take it. And that's how our company became known as 602 Communications. I mean, neither of us live in Phoenix anymore, and but yeah, it's a name and it's stuck with us. So, again, any other questions before we begin? Really, this is about. It's again, most of us come from evening newscasts. So this is all about getting to understand what viewers want in the morning. And the reality that mornings really are different. And morning newscasts really cannot be produced like an evening newscast if you really want to connect with your audience. The reality is that successful morning shows certainly update viewers on the news. That's the big overnight news, the things that are happening now. But the reality is, you got to do that, but you also have to put viewers in a good mood. Okay? We want to leave our viewers informed. We want to fill them with all kinds of interesting stories, but then we want them to leave our show with a smile on their face. People wake up in the morning, they're grumpy, they're tired, they got to go to work, they got to get the kids dressed, they got to go, sit at their desk for 8 hours. Mornings are, for most people, a very difficult time. And yes, people want to get their news in the morning, but they really are looking to watch you to be put in a good mood, to be filled in so they know what people are talking about when they go to work, but also, so they can enjoy watching Oon and Aaron and leave with some interesting stories that they can talk about when they go to work. The reality is you really cannot just do the news anymore. Everybody's got the news. If your viewers flipped around in the morning, no matter what station, they're going to get the news. Everybody has the same stuff. Fox may have less of it, but the big stories, they're going to have the same stuff. So just by doing the news isn't really going to cut it anymore. You got to have the news, but it can't be the only thing. And the biggest thing, if you leave with nothing in the next 2 days, is to understand that you really have to get the morning show viewers' attention because they're really not watching very closely. In fact, they may not be watching at all. And we think they are. We're news people, and we think they're just paying very close attention to that car and to the convenience store this morning. But the reality is they're not sitting in front of their television like they are in the evenings. In the evenings, they'll sit down and watch a morning show, an evening show. In the mornings, they're flitting all around the house. They're watching from the kitchen. They're watching from the bedroom. They're watching, basically, they're blow drying their hair. They're getting the kids dressed. They're just kind of moving around. And you can't just be background. At some point, we've got to get them to stop, look up, and go, what is Channel 4 doing? That is really interesting. But that takes a lot of work. But it can be done. And that's really what we're going to be focusing on here these next couple of days is getting their attention so they stop, they put down making breakfast, and they come and they watch what you guys are doing. The reality is too many good stories kind of simply fly by without having any impact at all. We want stories with impact that get viewers' attention. So, just get right into it. I'm going to tell you that one of the easiest ways is to simply take the most interesting stories and isolate them. Take them out. Pull them out. And say, this is interesting. This news over here is routine stuff. It's stuff we do all the time. It's the murders and the shootings and the traffic accidents and such. But now here's a story that's really interesting. How do we connect with our morning show viewers? And I just pulled out a clip from the Today Show from last week. The Kevin Durant news conference where he talked about his mom and that was a really interesting story, but it wasn't just treated like a VOSOT. It wasn't just lumped together with 6 other stories. So they broke it out. So watch this, and let's talk a little bit about it, and watch how they produce it, what they do with it. Look at the talent's reaction while they're watching the story.
Carson with a speech that's touching a lot of hearts this morning, Cameron.
Absolutely. In fact, this moment was retweeted 338,000 times. We've been celebrating moms all week here on Today, and you guys have been sending in such adorable pictures proving that moms rule. But it was Kevin Durant, the forward for the Oklahoma City Thunder, that had everyone in tears yesterday when he accepted the award as the MVP for the NBA, and he gave a lot of love to his mom, Wanda. Take a look.
We wasn't supposed to be here. You made us believe. You kept us off the street, put clothes on our backs, food on the table. When you didn't eat, you made sure we ate. You went to sleep hungry. You sacrificed for us. You're the real MVP.
So for background, Wanda was a single mom by the age